What's up, y'all? Welcome to a solo edition of SSPN. Ethan's back at the crib, so he doesn't have his equipment with him, but I actually had some time today and wanted to do a little bit of a recap of the first day of training camp. Obviously, we can't dive into what's really happening because it's the first day, but there was a lot of press conferences, a lot of the stuff with Media Day, and also kind of just want to talk about the outlook of the roster. I think I kind of have an idea of what like the key battle is going to be. Last year, we didn't really expect it, but it ended up being Keita Bates-Diop versus Luka Samanic. And of course, after the infamous Orlando Magic thing where he didn't go back for the ball, Keita Bates ended up winning the job, right? So we'll just take a look at the roster to start off. Obviously, y'all can't see me anymore. But yeah, there's also some notes that I have. I'm about to screen share that kind of has my predictions for the roster. As you can see, Jordan Hall, Dom Barlow, those are both the two-way guys. If you kind of want to add another asterisk to a couple other guys on the roster, that would be Tommy Kuhs, Alize Johnson. So I've been calling him Alize Johnson since I've seen him in 2K, since, I've just seen his name. But today I saw on Twitter the pronunciation guide that the Spurs give out, and I guess that's how it's pronounced. I may still be butchering it, but it is not Alize. That is definitely not how it's pronounced. But put a little asterisk next to him, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody else. I think it may just be, yeah, it's just those two guys. It's just Tommy Kuhs and Alize Johnson because they're on Exhibit 10 deals. And if I understand that correctly, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I believe that means basically they can be on the G League roster too. So like they kind of signed G League contracts, but they're guys that they want in training camp. So it just kind of allows them to have flexibility to where like they can move their contract to just a G League contract and, they don't have to cut them and stuff like that. It just gives the Spurs more flexibility on the ownership of them, I guess you could say. But those are two other guys that, don't expect to make the roster, but expect to see them in Austin, if I understand that correctly. All right. Well, let's take that down. And let's go ahead and pull up the notes that I was talking about. We'll also go on Twitter, and I want to talk a little bit about the quotes. Speaking of that, if you guys have not followed at SSPN on YT on Twitter, go follow it. I know for the most part, we've been telling y'all, go follow at Ethan_Quintero and Jude McLaren, but I got to change this after this recording because we now have a Twitter, and we're actually going to be live streaming on Twitter as well too. So whenever it's live on YouTube, YouTube's still going to be the main thing, but just trying to expand our audience, grow it a little bit more, by having the live streams on Twitter as well. And so like today, when this goes live, obviously it won't be like actually live, but it'll be premiering, if you will, on YouTube. And on Twitter as well. So just trying to grow that a little bit. Be on the lookout also for a website coming soon. That might be a little bit more down the road, but be on the lookout for that. And of course, if you like SSPN, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to have a lot of content coming for you this season. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, well, we'll get into that later. You guys are here for the Spurs. So let's go ahead and go into my roster predictions here. Okay, so like I said earlier, last year we realized that the battle ended up being Keita Bates-Diop versus, I'm trying to pull up my notes here. Sorry. Here we go, y'all. Was Keita Bates-Diop versus Luka Samanic. That's what it ended up being, right? So from my perspective this time, I think that it's going to end up being, sorry, just trying to adjust this a little bit for y'all. And we're going to screen share this here, right? So what I think it's going to end up being, as you can see right here, is Romeo Langford is going to be the odd man out. But if there is going to be a competition, I think it's going to be between him and Joe Wieskamp. The reason that, as of right now, that I'm choosing that is, well, one dude's a really good shooter and just got signed to a 2-year contract with the Spurs that was, guaranteed. I think he could still get cut and we'd have to pay him, but like, he signed a guaranteed 2-year deal, not just, a two-way or something like that. And I just feel like with him being so far ahead of Romeo shooting wise, and he's a little bit bigger than him, whatever defensive ability Romeo Langford may have that's better than Wieskamp, at the end of the day, it's like, I think they're just going to roll with him. Like I said, you've got the sign with the contract signing and the fact that he has a jump shot that you know, unless, as me and Ethan have joked about, that Chip England's last hurrah was giving Romeo a jumper. I don't think that. I think he's going to end up being the guy that is not on the roster that we end up cutting, like we did with Al-Farouq Aminu last year. But as you can see right there, I put in Alize Johnson and Tommy Kuhs. Where I with the two-way / Exhibit 10 G Leaguers, that's going to be Jordan Hall and Dom Barlow as well. So, you'll see Dom Barlow and Jordan Hall on the roster throughout the season. But the other stuff on top, I think those are going to be the 15 guys that make the team. The one thing that's really nice, and me and Ethan have talked about this so many times, is that the Spurs finally have like 3 solid fours on the roster, like 3 players that just are actually, all of them are 6'8", and all of them like have the right frame in today's, modern NBA to play that 4 position. I put Josh Primo and Jeremy Sohan on the bench. I think those two could be switchable as well. I think you could see Primo starting. I think you could see Jeremy Sohan starting as well. I just put those guys up there because they have more experience and have been in the league longer. So that's why I put them in the starting lineup. I think the 3 dudes who are guaranteed to be in the starting lineup are Keldon, Jakob, and Devin. I don't know where they're going to play, but we'll get into this a little bit later. Keldon dropped 21 pounds over the offseason, and, on the roster, even though he was last year, he's listed as a guard forward. I don't think he's losing weight to play the 4. So I really think, finally, and that's probably because you have Isaiah Roby, Jeremy Sohan, and Keita Bates-Diop, Keldon's going to be playing the 3 and the 2 now. Maybe there are some situations like the Spurs are playing the Rockets in their first preseason game, even though Keldon's already listed as out for that because of the little shoulder injury that he had during Open Gym, but he'll be good for the regular season, and it's not serious at all. He talked about that at Media Day today as well. But the point is, Keldon is most likely going to be playing the 2 and 3. Kind of lost my train of thought there because of the other 3 guys the other 2 guys that they've brought in. So that's going to be really nice. What I was saying is, when they play the Rockets, maybe there's a chance, like a team like that, where he goes in on a small ball 4. But it would be like, okay, in that instance, he's matching up with Jayshawn Tate, who's 6'4". So it's like, it'll actually work out. You guys have heard me and Ethan beat that dead drum for a minute now, but just to wrap this up here, we're going to go ahead and check out, some Twitter stuff. So let me get that pulled up here, and I'm going to go ahead and head to Tom Orsborn's Twitter to check out a lot of the quotes that the Spurs had today, because there was a lot of interesting stuff from our man Popovich. So let's go ahead and pull that up if I can do that here. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I gotta screen share again, but I gotta remove a source. Anyways, I hope y'all are having a great day. Here we go. We got it up now, y'all. Not on the screen, but there we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and scroll through this. So, well, let's talk about this to start. Our man Josh Primo enters his second season loaded with optimism. That's how our man Tom Orsborn put it. Been working for the San Antonio News Express for a minute, so shout out to him for always doing great stuff on Twitter. We want to make the playoffs, and I think that's the consensus of a lot of guys here. Well, obviously, every year the teams are trying to make playoffs. We are going to have fun doing it, ... It's always fun to prove people wrong. I would love that. I would love to be wrong, but the other thing that was awesome today was this right here. Josh Primo can be saying that, but Pop literally joked before the day with the media. Nobody here should go to Vegas with the thought of us winning a championship. The point is to develop this young group to have long NBA careers. And I think there was a little bit more drama there. I forget, well, not like actual drama, but like he said it a little bit more dramatically, just super jokingly, like he knows they're going to be bad. But the interesting other part of some stuff that Pop said, and I think that might have been from Mike Finger, I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Some other funny ones. Pop on what drives him to return. My paycheck. Pop on who starts at point. Jakob Poeltl is our 5. We'll go from there. there was something else that Pop said, and it was about him. It was what we tweeted on the SSPN account, which I'll jump to here in a second. But it was basically him saying, well, this is what he says. This was the funny part. I probably shouldn't say this. Leans into the microphone. Nobody here pauses. Should go to Vegas and bet on this team to win the championship. So it was a little funnier than the other tweet. No shade to our man Tom Orsborn though. I can't find the other one, but he said, I'm just going to go to the SSPN account so y'all can see it. Only 13 followers right now. No, just playing. Y'all go ahead and follow that if you can. But he says, whoever comes after me, right? And that was kind of in the quote where he was talking about how this is the team, a young team that he wants to develop, to have great NBA careers or to have long NBA careers, right? And then he says in the next sentence, whoever comes after me will be able to like realize their full potential, right? And so that I think is very interesting because me and Ethan, wait, you know what I'm saying? Now y'all are gonna get the true real DMs here. This is me and Ethan exposed, I guess you could say. No, this was what I was talking about. I'm glad I found this and remembered it. So Pop says the point of this season is to develop this group and give them the best possible opportunity to have long NBA careers and to enjoy the hell out of it. And whoever comes after me will have an opportunity to take them to the next level. This is Pop's last season, right? Well, we don't know that for a fact, but it's the last season on his contract. And I feel like if he's saying that, I DM'd Ethan and I said, is this Pop subtly saying he's retiring after this year? And I really think it is, because it's just the most Pop thing of all time to finish out his contract and then be done. We'll get like a 1-sentence press release of like him saying I'm retiring, and then it'll be over. So let's enjoy, this last season of Pop as well. And the rumor is, with all the there's a lot of Quinn Snyder smoke out there with his retirement, abruptly, or not retirement, but his resigning in Utah abruptly. So that's another storyline. Maybe that's who Pop was alluding to when whoever comes after him will be able to realize their full potential. Maybe he has confidence in that. For those of you guys who don't know, even though we've talked about it before, Quinn Snyder was in the Spurs organization for a minute. He worked for the Austin Toros, was the head coach down there when it was the D League back in the day. And, it's just a part of that Popovich coaching tree. So it would be really cool to see him come back. For me, I'm just like, look, if it's not Quinn Snyder, it better be Becky, because homegirl just won a title in her first year in the WNBA. And I know the WNBA is different than the NBA, but still a testament to her coaching ability. And shout out to her and the Las Vegas Aces. The other thing that is scary for, I think, a lot of Spurs fans is Brett Brown being an assistant coach. And a lot of us don't want him to replace Pop, just with how it went in Philly. I'd love to keep him as an assistant coach. I think he's another person, kind of like Quinn Snyder, in the fact that he's been with the Spurs before, knows the organization. And I think he's a great addition to the coaching staff, just to have another veteran who knows the Spurs on there. And I think that what he's good at is maximized more in that role after what we kind of saw through his head coaching career. Not try to crap on our man Brett Brown, but yeah, it just didn't go that great in Philly. So glad to see him as an assistant coach. Hopefully he stays there, and hoping he's not the next replacement for the Spurs after Greg Popovich retires, which it seems like he's going to do. But yeah, the main takeaways: Keldon dropping 20 pounds. It's like, hallelujah. And that might just be because of the roster. Hopefully he still doesn't come out at the 4. Maybe there's a chance Doug McDermott still plays there. But, with Keita Bates, Isaiah Roby, and Jeremy Sohan, and the other Pop quote that I didn't pull up there on Twitter, and y'all are just going to take my word for it. Go. Y'all can go check me, and y'all won't correct me because this is true. And he said this, was a lot of the rookies maybe playing earlier than they expect. And I think that's definitely talking about Sohan, just with him being a top 10 pick and the need for the Spurs to have somebody, at the 4. I think long-term development, like he says, is the key to this year. And I think he's going to get some minutes for sure. And I think Keita Bates will kind of be the same role that he was beforehand. He's somebody that is a plug and play guy. He's still on a minimum deal, but for the most part, he's going to be the third stringer. I think behind Isaiah Roby and him. Maybe Isaiah Roby ends up being that third stringer, and his experience in San Antonio ends up paying off, and Keita Bates ends up starting. I don't know. Probably not. But I think for sure Sohan is going to get minutes. I think he's one of those guys. I think you're going to see spurts of Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. But I don't think that they're really going to be the main guys in the guard rotation unless we make a trade, including Josh Richardson and Doug McDermott. I know that there was some smoke about Russell Westbrook and us sending Doug McDermott, Jay Rich, and Jakob over there. With the Spurs, you just never know. There's no way to predict it with the Spurs. So maybe they make a big deal like that, but I don't really think that they're going to do that one. I could see all three of those guys getting moved at some point in the season. But I have a feeling they're just going to get picks back. Maybe they'll get somebody, but with what he's saying about the rookies, that could be another way that Malachi or Blake Wesley ends up getting more minutes. Is if you trade somebody like a Jay Rich and a Doug McDermott that allows more opportunities for guys like that. And yeah, I mean, that's really the main storylines after today. I don't want to get too deep into it because I want to save some stuff for me and Ethan. I think in the past we may have said on the show that we weren't the biggest fan of the teal jerseys, but after Blake Wesley dropped them on Instagram, it was like, oh my God, no, never mind. We love them. And that was kind of like the same thing with last year's jerseys. I was like, oh, they're not as good. They should have just done the white. And then you actually see them, or the white version of the original Fiestas that the Spurs did. But then you see them and you're like, oh wait, these are actually really cool. So shout out to the Spurs uniform design team. I don't know who does that, but shout out to y'all. Y'all just keep proving us wrong. I want to see the statement jerseys. I know that me and Ethan were kind of mixed on those, but maybe it ends up being the same thing where those look even better in person. And then of course the George Gervin throwbacks, the blackouts are going to be so awesome. I can't wait to see it. Oh, and I'm forgetting the biggest thing of media day. Jeremy Sohan's Fiesta hair. My dude's got the colors already. We love it. He said a lot of people on IG were telling him to do it, and he was like, why not? It's going to be so fun to watch these young guys develop. The Spurs are going to be bad. They're not going to make the playoffs like Josh Primo says. I'm sorry, my guy. If you prove me wrong, I will love you forever, and it will be awesome. I mean, I'm already probably going to love you forever, but pause. Anyways, the point is, just excited to see this young team develop, and excited that the Spurs, even if they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst team in the league, that they just have actual dudes at each position, that play that position. And it's mainly just the four, right? And then you've got three centers. You've got Jakob, you've got Zach Collins, and then you got Gorgie Jang. So just to have dudes actually playing the position that they're supposed to be, and Keldon drops 20 pounds and is going to be able to play on the perimeter more. I'm just really excited to see these guys, not in the undersized position with the small ball, that we've been playing for 2 years now, 3 years, really since the DeMar season. I'm just excited to see, these dudes not in positions where they're completely disadvantaged physically. Obviously, talent-wise, they're going to be disadvantaged this season, but it's just going to be really fun to see those guys not have to match up against dudes who are 4 inches taller than them every game. So that's my main thing. Those are my main takeaways. Tell me what y'all thought of media today. If y'all of media day today, if y'all have any tidbits or anything else, and just be on the lookout for more content, y'all. We appreciate you guys. We're going to be out here. I know it's been a little bit of a lull. If y'all follow me on Twitter, and this is what I was going to get into earlier, I got a job. Now I'm actually backing out of that job. Well, not backing out, but leaving. And this is going to kind of be not necessarily main priority, but it's going to be up there. So definitely be on the lookout, and we're really going to try to invest and go hard this year. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.